If you hit 30 and you can't cover a surprise car bill of $400 in the same month, you don't have a budget problem. You have a milestone problem. And that one missing rung turns into interest, fees, and forced debt that follows you for years. The Federal Reserve even tracks this. In 2024, a big slice of adults still couldn't cover that $400 in cash. Federal Reserve. So today, I'm not giving you fluffy advice. By the end of this video, you'll have a simple age map. You can check in 2 minutes. You'll know what matters at 20, what matters at 35, what matters at 50, and what to ignore until later. And the best part is this. These milestones aren't about being rich. They're about not being forced to be broke. Meet Harry. Right now, he's a customer support rep at a home internet company. He talks to angry people all day. He's good at calming them down. But he can't calm down his own money. He brings home $3,178 a month after taxes and benefits. He's 26. And last month, his transmission made a sound that felt like a threat. The repair estimate was $1,493. He didn't have it, so he did what most people do. He put it on a credit card. And now he's paying interest on a problem that already happened. That's the pain. And it's why financial milestones by age matters. Because the real enemy isn't expenses, it's forced decisions. In the psychology of money, Morgan Housel keeps coming back to one quiet truth. The goal isn't to be the smartest person in the room. It's to stay in the game, long enough for time to do the heavy lifting. Milestones are how you stay in the game. So let's walk the map, and I'll show you how Harry climbed it, one rung at a time. The first milestone isn't tied to an age. It's tied to a moment. It's the moment you earn your first real money and realize it disappears. If you're under 18, your milestone is simple. You need a money container and a money mirror. A container is a basic bank account you can see every day. A mirror is a one-page list of what you own and what you owe. Not a spreadsheet, one page. Because if you can't see it, you can't steer it. Harry didn't do this as a teen. Most people don't. So he started at 26. He opened a free checking account for spending and a separate savings account he renamed Do Not Touch. Then he made a one-page mirror. Cash, $112. Savings, $0. Credit card, $3,084. Car loan, $9,600. Net worth, negative $12,572. That number felt like a punch, but it also did something important. It made the problem real. Now, the next milestone is what you should have by the time you're in your early 20s. Call it ages 18 to 24. This milestone is your first shock absorber, not 6 months. Not a perfect emergency fund. Just 1 month of keep the lights on money. Rent, groceries, phone, minimum debt payments, and gas. Harry calculated his 1-month number. It was $2,167. He didn't have it. So he built it in a way that didn't rely on motivation. Here's the move. He stopped trying to save whatever is left. Instead, he built a rule that happens before life starts spending. He called it first swipe wins. Every payday, before he bought anything, before one coffee, before one delivery order, he did 3 moves. Move 1. He paid the minimums on everything. Move 2. He dropped a specific amount into the shock absorber. Move 3. He put a tiny amount into investing, even if it felt pointless. His paycheck hit every other Thursday. Not Friday, not Monday, Thursday. At 7:11 a.m., so at 7:20 a.m., he did it. Minimums, shock absorber, tiny invest. The shock absorber deposit was $137. Odd on purpose, because it fit his real life. Month 1, the savings account hit $281. Month 2, it hit $599. Month 3, it hit $1,012. Then life tried to erase it. His dog got sick. The vet bill was $479. Old Harry would have put it on the card. New Harry paid cash. And that moment mattered more than the balance, because the milestone wasn't saving money, it was removing panic. Now we move into the mid-20s milestone, ages 25 to 29. This is where most people make a fatal mistake. They treat retirement investing like it's optional, like it's something you do once you feel stable. But the data keeps showing the same trap. When people don't have a buffer, they eventually raid their future. Hardship withdrawals are a real thing, and they've been rising in recent years. Investopedia. So the mid-20s milestone is not a big number, it's a habit. You need a baseline investing rate. Think of it like brushing your teeth, small, automatic, non-negotiable. Harry started with $45 per week, not because it was perfect, because it was survivable. He opened his investing app. He typed a broad market index fund. He hit buy. He set it to repeat weekly. That's it. And if you're new, here's what that means in plain English. An index fund is like buying a giant basket. Instead of trying to pick one winning company, you buy tiny pieces of hundreds or thousands at once. So one company can fail, and your whole plan doesn't die. Now, the next milestone is the one everyone argues about. Age 30. And I'm going to say something that might annoy you. Age 30 isn't about having a certain net worth. It's about reaching your first multiplication point. One popular guideline says you aim for about 1 times your salary saved for retirement by age 30. Fidelity. That's a benchmark, not a moral grade. And it's not even the most important part. The most important part is this. At 30, you need your money system to run even when you're tired. Harry didn't hit 1 times salary by 30 because he wasn't 30 yet. But he did hit the part that actually changes everything. He got his shock absorber to 3 months of expenses. And the Federal Reserve tracks this too. In the 2024 survey, about 55% of people said they had set aside 3 months of expenses in an emergency fund. Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. That means nearly half didn't. So if you're behind, you're not broken, you're normal. But normal is expensive, so Harry kept climbing. By month 7, his Do Not Touch account hit $2,194. By month 9, it hit $2,982. And the crazy part? He wasn't earning more. He was just removing forced debt. Now we get to the 30s milestone, ages 31 to 39. This is the decade where people accidentally get rich or accidentally get trapped. Because the decisions get bigger. Rent becomes mortgage. Old car becomes new car. 1 kid becomes 2. So the milestone here is protection. You need 3 things locked. First, you need to know your fixed cost number. That's the amount that leaves your life every month no matter what. Rent or mortgage. Utilities, insurance, minimum debt, childcare. If you don't know that number, you're guessing. Second, you need insurance that matches reality. Not fancy, not perfect, just enough that one disaster doesn't create 10 years of debt. Third, you need your retirement contributions rising with your life, not after you feel comfortable, with your life. Now, here's where I'm going to give you the best reveal. And it's the part most people never hear. The real milestone at every age isn't a savings balance. It's how many months you can go without touching your future. That's the whole game. Because when you're forced to sell investments or raid retirement or live on credit, you lock in losses. You don't just lose money, you lose time. In The Millionaire Next Door, Thomas Stanley and William Danko studied people who became wealthy the boring way, not lottery winners, not celebrities. And the pattern wasn't flashy investing. It was controlling lifestyle growth so their assets had room to grow. That's the principle. And now, pair that with modern reality. Fidelity's own retirement guidelines say 3 times salary by 40, 6 times by 50, and so on. Fidelity. Why do those multiples jump? Because time is running out. And the earlier you build unforced months, the less you need to sprint later. Harry proved this in a small way. After a year, his shock absorber was $3,811. His credit card dropped from $3,084 to $1,009. And his investing account, even starting tiny, crossed $2,460. He wasn't rich, but he was no longer easy to break. That's the milestone. Now, let's hit the 40s. Ages 40 to 49. This decade is about momentum and responsibilities. Your income might finally be decent, and your obligations might finally be heavy. So your milestone is simple. You need a system that scales. You can't rely on trying harder. You need a structure. Here's the 40s checklist in plain language. You should be able to answer these without stress. If you lost your job, how long could you cover your basics? If you had to replace your car, would it be debt or cash? If your family needed help, would you wreck your retirement? And you need legal basics handled. Beneficiaries. A simple will. Not because you're old, because life is unpredictable. Now the 50s. Ages 50 to 59. This is where denial gets expensive, because time compresses. The milestone here is acceleration without panic. You want your savings rate higher than it's ever been. And you want debt lower than it's ever been. Not because debt is evil, because debt steals flexibility. This is also when many people can make catch-up retirement contributions, depending on the account type and rules where you live. But the bigger point is this. Your plan can't depend on the market being nice. It has to work even if the market is rude for a few years. So you focus on two things: how much you save and how stable your spending is. Now the 60s. Ages 60 to 66. This is where the milestone shifts again. It stops being about building and starts being about protecting. You want a retirement runway. That means you don't want all your money exposed to needing perfect timing. You want a cash bucket for near-term spending and an investing bucket for long-term growth. So if the market drops, you don't sell in panic. You spend from the runway. Then you let the market recover over time. And finally, the milestone everyone thinks is the finish line. Age 67 and beyond. One guideline says about 10 times salary by around 67 as a general target. Fidelity. Again, it's a benchmark, not a verdict. The real milestone at this age is confidence, not, "I hope this works." Real confidence. You know what you spend. You know what income sources you have. You know what your plan is if a big expense hits, and you know your money can last. Now let's bring it back to you. Because you might be thinking, this is great, but I'm behind. Good. That means you can use the map. Here's how Harry used it, and how you can copy it without being overwhelmed. He didn't chase his age. He chased his next missing milestone. He wrote down his age on a sticky note. Then he wrote the milestone he was missing most. For him, it was the shock absorber. Then he built a tiny ritual around it. Not a budget, a trigger. Before the first swipe. And if you do nothing else after this video, do this tonight. Open your notes app. Write your age. Write these 3 lines under it. 1. My 1-month basics number is yes and grinds. 2. My shock absorber balance is 3. My next milestone is Then pick one action that happens before your life starts spending. Not when you feel motivated. Before the first swipe. That's the lever. Because the point of milestones isn't to impress anyone. It's to remove the moments that force you into bad moves. Once those moments disappear, the rest gets easier. And if you want to make this even simpler, here's the cheat code. Your money has 3 jobs: protect you, grow you, free you. If you're young, protection comes first. If you're midlife, growth gets louder. If you're older, freedom becomes the focus. But at every age, the rule stays the same. Stay in the game. No forced withdrawals, no panic debt, no desperate selling. Because the person who can keep going is the person who wins. So take your age, find your next missing rung, and build your before the first swipe routine around it. Do that for the next 12 months, and a year from now, you won't just have a bigger number. You'll have something better. You'll have breathing room. And that's the real milestone.